gosh, Julie, it's so great to have you here.
So fun. We're finally getting through this.
I know. I don't know what is going on with Facebook Live, but I tell you, every single time there is something going on. Hi, Beth. Thanks for joining us tonight. Looks like we got Beth Campbell saying hi. Good to see you, Beth. Thanks for joining us tonight. So, it's so great to have you here, Julie. Julie was one of the speakers with our TEDxcherrycreekWomen group. How amazing was it to have the opportunity to speak on that stage?
It was so surreal, Sarah. Like even a month later, doesn't it feel like, wait, did this actually happen? And just watching all of our talks go live and the response that people are getting, it's just so cool.
Yeah, it feels it's one of those. It really, truly is one of those things that is a rare moment to have.
Yeah.
You have to let it sink in for sure. How did you feel when you got the news, Julie?
Well, it was funny. So I had applied 3 times before, and when the two TEDx Cherry Creek once, and then 2 others, I had applied, and had actually talked with a woman, a sort of a mentor of mine, and she was saying, all right, next time we're going to find your theme. We're going to find that thread. And I was like, I'm going to take a break. I just can't take the rejection anymore. And then actually our mutual speaking coach, she was like, look, application is out. You're going to do it. And I was like, no, I'm going on vacation. I don't have time. I'm not doing it. And she said, you're doing it. And so I did. And I feel very passionate about the topic I want to talk about. So I actually changed the way I presented the information, but the topic was the same, but kind of took a different angle at it. And so when the email came from Michael, you know, and it said like, please open the PDF. And I'm opening the PDF and I was trying to get out the door. I'm like, really, this is a lot of effort just to say no to me, just say it in the body of the email. So then when I had to reread that first sentence, like, wait, what? They want me now? So, I mean, the excitement, that was unbelievable because it's been as you and I were talking before, like it's been a goal of mine for 9 years. So to have it finally come through, and especially this year when there was just so much negativity and, crummy stuff going on, it was definitely a good thing to focus on.
Yes, it was. Yes. What a transformational opportunity to have in a transformational kind of year.
Yes.
And amazing. I mean, can I just say, amazing for the perseverance and staying committed and going for it again, and I'm so glad that you're sharing that with people because, everybody needs to hear that, it's like, it doesn't matter how many times you get no, if it's what you want to do, keep going for it because you got the yes, and you were on that stage and you made it.
Totally.
So that's amazing. Your talk was around the power of language and how we can be more effective in our language, how we need to be thinking about our confidence when we are communicating with people and how we can grow in our confidence. Right. And it's something that it made me think about in the ways that I think about leadership and my inner leadership. Do I feel confident in myself? Am I carrying myself in that confident place? Do I feel strong in myself when I'm communicating with people? And if I don't, like, where is that coming from? I loved your talk, Julie. So for those of you who are watching us, if you didn't get a chance to watch Julie's talk, I shared the link on my page with the information letting you know that we were going live. So you can always find that link. I will share it again with this talk, and you can catch us on the replay if you didn't get a chance to watch Julie's talk. I highly recommend it. Julie, please let the listeners know a little bit about your work and why and how language, why this is a passion of yours, and how you came in to do this work in helping people empower their language.
Sure. I grew up overseas in Europe and Asia, and started elementary school in France and did not speak a word of French at all. And it really started then, the conversations I had with my grandparents, I remember before leaving New York to move to Paris, about, you're going to come home at Christmas and you're going to be able to speak French fluently. And as a 6-year-old, not even understanding what the word fluent meant, but that has stayed with me. That conversation that we repeatedly had really stuck with me. So it really started there. But then as a professional, starting my career working at Harvard University, which in the fundraising department, it was heavily female oriented, but the leadership was all men. I happened to work for a phenomenal guy who was one of the senior leaders in the development group. And he was very empowering and wanted to bring women up. And I started to notice how, and this has happened to so many of us, in a big conference room, the men would all sit at the big table and the women would kind of fill in around the edges. And not even realizing that they were putting themselves in this one down position, right? And then when they would speak, it was, well, he has the relationship, I don't, or, John's the one who's golfed with him, and not taking credit for their work. And then of course people were going to gladly take the credit if it was being offered to them. And it really sunk in with me that something wasn't right. And I didn't know at the time what it was, as I do now, and I hear it now. And when I started my leadership development consulting practice and coaching practice almost a decade ago, I started paying attention to what were women doing to get in their own way. What was happening, that all these women were just not being recognized for their strengths or their abilities. And I was seeing them as these powerhouses, but they weren't being recognized that way. And it hit me pretty hard when I started recognizing. It started with a colleague of mine, and we had been hired by another consultant to do some work, and we were in a strategy meeting, and every time she opened her mouth, it was putting herself down, or I'm not an expert, or you know better than I do, or sorry for the interruption. And I was in disbelief because I looked to this woman as the expert. Right. And then really started hearing it everywhere. And that has been the focus of my work, and a lot of the challenges that my clients have, with sometimes they recognize right away and sometimes they don't, is really around communication. And I've talked to them about powerful language and the language that they use that sabotages their career, doesn't allow them to influence people around them. We're constantly influencing people, right? Whether we're in sales or not, we're trying to get people on board. I joke around, I have 2 teenage kids at home. I'm influencing, or trying to, all day, every day. Right. Do the dishwasher and take out the garbage, right? So we have to ask that every Tuesday. But anyway, picking up on this, this is something that's getting in the way and that people aren't recognizing it. And I thought it was just with women, but in fact, probably 5 or 6 years ago, I did a talk for a pretty large company, and it was a webinar, and they initially invited their women to come have this conversation about powerful language. And word got out, and a lot of the men were saying, hey, could we join in? This is an issue I have too. And next thing we knew, there were 1,900 people from around the world coming for this webinar, live conversation. And I realized this really is a conversation across the board, from gender, different industries. I have a very, very close friend who is a naval officer pretty high up, and he said this is something that's important for him as well. So yeah, it's something we all need to pay attention to. People do tell me after they hear me talk or now since they've watched the TED Talk that they don't want to speak in front of me anymore.
I believe it. I believe it. I watched it and I was like, I'm gonna interview her. Okay. All right. No speaking, Sarah.
Yeah, no judgments though. No judgments at all.
Right.
Yeah.
It's okay. I'm fully in my authenticity. I'm going to be completely honest, and I will own up to the fact that sometimes I have to catch myself when my language and communication can be weak. But the whole point is to be self-aware and to grow from it and to recognize that confidence is something that we can build. And that's really what I took from your talk, which is why it was so motivating and why it had that lasting impact.